Bring in the foreign desk editor-in-chief, Lisa Daftari, and Fox News contributor and former Trump foreign policy advisor, Kiron Skinner. Thank you both for coming on. I want to go back to Karine Jean-Pierre, if I can, Kiron, for a second here, because it just baffles me that 24 hours, the time that she spoke, it was about 18 hours, but 24 hours after this, no comment. They're not commenting about this at all. Watch.
I know there's a lot of interest in reports from the Middle East overnight, and we understand that. We get that. I'm going to say it now, though I know you all will certainly ask me about it, that we do not have any comment on the reports at this time.
You told Iran don't. You told Israel don't. They both did. And now you can't come forth and say, this is the deal. This is the strategy. Here's what's happening. Do we deserve a comment on this?
I think we do, but it's more disturbing for me was what Secretary Blinken said. This is all about Hamas. It is the one that has escalated this conflict, and it's the one that can stop it. It's Iran.
Right.
We needed to hear it from him, not the White House spokesperson. That would have been good. But the fact that the Secretary of State is doing shuttle diplomacy and can't unequivocally finger Iran as the source of this conflict. Remember, Trace, at the beginning of this war on October 7th, the Biden White House thought aloud about the fact that maybe Iran's not directly involved.
Right. That's right. That's exactly what they conveyed.
Our intel is telling us, our intelligence, that Iran is, we can't trace it.
Yeah.
The reality is this is about one country.
Right.
And its attempt to menace not just Israel and the United States and Europe, but the entire free world in the West.
And it shows, Lisa, that the White House has literally lost control of this. They're telling people don't do things, and they all do these things, and you wonder, how do they get the control back?
Right, and everyone's talking about what was the conversation that happened between Bibi Netanyahu and President Biden that led to the retaliation and also going into Rafah. Israel had to do the deterrence that the White House failed to do all along. Had the White House started the deterrence at the podium and had not given the concessions to Iran's regime, taking the Houthis off the list, taking the sanctions off, giving them billions of dollars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we wouldn't be where we are, where Iran's regime is putting billions of dollars into its terror proxies in this shadow war that it has been conducting on Israel for more than a decade.
Yeah.
It did not start October 7th.
Yeah, and it's amazing because they say don't. The administration has been wrong. Amos Harrell, military affairs correspondent for Haaretz, writes the following, quoting here, the military, he says, it appears we're closer than ever to a broad regional war, despite the fact that the international community will most likely make a great effort to de-escalate tensions. Are we closer than ever, Kiron, to a bigger war?
We've been in a broader regional war for a long time. October 7th just underscored the point. The Biden administration, by attempting to restart the Iran nuclear deal, lift sanctions, I think ignored the fact that this war has been going on. Some call it a shadow war. Others call it a twilight war. But Iran's attempt to destabilize Israel by using proxies in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, this is not new.
Yep.
This has been a wider war for a long time. And if you just think about this year, the fact that the Houthis have attempted drone and missile strikes against Iran, they haven't succeeded. But what they have succeeded is in the wider conflict of disrupting global trade in the Red Sea.
And that's what everybody's kind of worried about, is what's going to happen the next several days with trade and shipping and so forth. My last question to you, Lisa, would be, it seems to me that Israel was telling Iran, listen, we can reach you. We can reach you. This was a signal like, you are not out of reach.
Absolutely. And the simultaneous attacks, not only inside Iran, but on Iraq and Syria as well, says, if you want to reach us by proxy, we'll meet you there. If you want to reach us from the Iran soil, we will meet you there. But the one thing I want to point to is the naivete of the American psyche in looking at foreign policy, particularly the Biden administration, in not deterring our enemies, in not calling radical Islam what it is. For 45 years, the Iranian people have been trying to tell us that we have to get rid of the regime. But we have only wined and dined this regime to allow them to play out what they have. And right now, people were so worried about ISIS, the Islamic State. The original Islamic State is the Islamic Republic that is inside Iran, and for 45 years we've allowed this to happen.
We have let it fester, and that's for
Yes.
sure. Lisa Daftari, Kiron Skinner, thank you both. Meantime,